Hey guys, Nate Saunders here from ESPN, and as you can see, joining me is Lando Norris. I've got one F1 driver, one microphone, so bear with us, this might be a funny interview. Lando, big weekend, not officially your home race, but you are now a resident of Monte Carlo. What is that like? What's it like living here?
What is it like? It's lovely. I'm not going to complain in any way. The French Riviera is a beautiful place. Next to the sea. Yeah, I guess it's just not where I grew up. It's not my home. It's not where my friends are, based. It's not where, So there's many different reasons for why I still love the UK and still love it more than anything. But yes, it's a lovely place. I guess I'm still getting to know more and more people and things like that. And it definitely is nice waking up in my own bed in the morning and being able to literally walk 5 minutes to the circuit, and I'm at work. So it's cool.
And how many, a lot of the other drivers live here, how often do you guys actually kind of see each other in passing? Do you see Max going on one of his runs every so often? Or because I think in people's heads they think that you guys just are all like, hey guys, how's it going? But it's a big place, so I imagine it's not too much.
It's big and it's tiny. I mean, you can literally drive from one side of Monaco to the other at the speed limit, probably in under 5 minutes, not even 5 minutes, I would say. So you bump into each other every now and then. I wouldn't say that much. I know Lewis lives in Monaco, but he's I think he's in America a lot and different places. So it depends, but you do bump into each other. I know I go to a different gym to what some of the other guys go to. I live on one side, half the guys live on the other side, so it's kind of like two splits. You have two different teams. Yes, you do bump into each other. I live on the same side as Max, so I'll see Max. So we went for dinner the other night, things like that. So every now and then.
Nice. And just talking about this weekend, obviously it's been a tricky start to the season. Everyone, when they come to Monaco, it's a bit of a leveler, but just because of the type of circuit. What are your expectations for this weekend? Can it be maybe an improvement to what we've seen so far?
I hope so. I think there's been instances of let's say better results. Whether it was Baku or should have been scoring points in Bahrain, things like that. Australia. There's been places still which we've done still well, but just when we've done bad, it's just like a bigger contrast, So we'll see. It's been a good track for us in the last few years. One of my first podiums was here in Monaco, probably most memorable as well. So such a cool place to do it, such a difficult track. But like you said, it's a place we've actually performed well on in the past. It equalizes for everyone. You still want a good car. You still want a car which gives you confidence and that you can push to the limit on easily. But at the same time, it's smaller differences than other circuits, less straights, tighter corners, which kind of brings everything to a more level playing field.
And you guys are always about hooking up the perfect lap anywhere you go. But how special does it feel here, especially when you get that? I know you never get a perfect lap, but when you come away thinking that was pretty damn close.
It's a lot of relief, I can tell you. Your heart rate is through the roof on that lap. It's definitely the most relieving by the time you cross the finish line. You're like, damn, that was insane. Just because the end of the lap is also quite high speed. It's also the time. The worst things can happen in terms of crashes and things like this. So it's just so tough, but enjoyable at the same time. It's hard to describe what it is actually like until you get to drive it or get to be in that position. So the most rewarding I would say is Monaco.
Same car as all season, but you've got a new livery this year. This weekend. Yeah. Just what do you think of it? And as a driver, as fans, we love new liveries. It's cool to look at, but ultimately, I guess when you get in the car, it doesn't make a huge difference. But what do you think of them?
For me, I guess it's special just because it's the history of McLaren. I think it's a nice livery. But it's just being part of the team that has achieved the Triple Crown, which to some people might not care. To the passionate people that know about racing as a sport. I think it means a lot, whether you win in Le Mans at any point, whether you win Indy 500 at any point, or whether you win Monaco or Formula One World Championship. I think all are extremely difficult to do, but very special, And McLaren is the team to have done that. So just kind of celebrating the history of McLaren, but at the same time, I would love to be part of the history and creating the history, not just celebrating the past of it, but creating it in the present. So I prefer to be doing that, but it's still lovely and I guess an honor at the same time to be part of the history of McLaren.
And Indy 500 itself, obviously, is usually on the Monaco evening. Do you usually sit and watch that? Is that something you like to do? And it's such a different event to Formula One as well. What do you make of it?
I mean, you got to be quite crazy to do it in the first place. So therefore, I have full respect to the guys who do it, to everyone who does it. But yeah, it's such a different challenge to say racing here in Monaco or Formula One. So I don't think I can comment on it until I've maybe tried it, but I don't necessarily want to try it at the same time. So it's insane. I will try and watch it. I remember last year I flew out straight away, so I wasn't able to see it for whatever reason. But I'll be watching Sunday night. Yeah, I mean, McLaren are doing well at the minute. They had a good qualifying, so of course I'll be supporting them.
So it sounds like it's not something you'd ever consider. I know the driver's own Max has said that before. It's and I spoke to Marcus Ericsson actually just before he won it, and he was like, ovals they blow your mind the first time you try them because you're like, what is this? What am I doing?
But he ended up winning it, so fair play to him. Yeah, I saw Daniel said something similar the other day. I feel so. It's I think like you said, it's just so different to what we're used to. You can't say it's great, it's bad, whatever until you try it. I might start on something slower and then build up. I don't know, but it's a different challenge. I have full respect for what they go and do. But it's very exciting. I love to watch the IndyCar races. I watch them as much as I can, even though they're on like stupid time schedules comparing to us. I do enjoy it. So I wish them all the best.
And you mentioned McLaren's doing very well there. Obviously, yourself and Zach have spoken a lot about the aim. Obviously, is to get McLaren back to that level here. I know this is a big year with the wind tunnel coming online, and Zach said to us in an interview at the start of the year, 2025 is when he wants the team to be competitive. You obviously have bought into that mindset as well. You're still fully committed to that? Because everything you've said publicly, I know people try and say, Lando wants to go here or do this, but you still seem fully committed to that, and you've clearly seen a lot from within the team that makes you believe that when the car is in the right place, you've got a team here that can win a championship.
No, I definitely believe so. It is just time, and that's the difficult thing to deal with. And I wouldn't say I'm the most patient guy. I've learned to be a lot more patient since joining Formula One. But it can be for anyone, you can go from winning world championships to finishing P8, P9 the next year, So it's the same for anyone in any position that they're in. But I want to do it with McLaren. I think it's, first of all, just a lot more special to do it that way. I think it's just a lot cooler to achieve something with a story, going from where we were to hopefully winning. But I also have a contract for the next 2 years. So, I do want to do it with McLaren. I believe they can, otherwise I wouldn't have signed the contract in the first place. And I think that's very obvious, very clear. But I believe, which of course biased, because McLaren's the only team that I've been with in Formula One. So of course I'll be biased when I say it, but I believe the people that we have, with Andrea, with new lineup of the guys we have back in the factory, I believe we got what it takes. Especially with the wind tunnel coming along, the new simulator. There will be no excuses, let's say. But there has been genuine, not excuses, but reasons for why we're just not able to compete against Red Bull or Mercedes or Ferrari, because they have things that make them better than us, and until we have those things, we don't want to accept defeat to someone who's done a better job at the end of the day. So yeah, we're still working on achieving that.
Just before I came here, I was looking at Twitter. There's we've got Vegas coming later this year. I think some people who have, I guess, played the game before anyone else have done a lap of that track. Have you seen that yet? Have you managed to? You've done it. What did you think of it?
I was one of the first people, I think, to have driven it.
Well, track record then you had at some point.
I had lap record, yeah. It's pretty insane. There's not a lot to the track, but in a good way. I would say it's not like it's a boring 5 corners and that's it. I think the corners are quite cool. They're tricky corners, kind of turning and braking in a lot of them. Long straights, the back straight, which is very long. Fast flowing corners, I would say, kind of curbs you've got to take at certain places. But it's also quite a short lap. Well, it feels like a short lap anyway. And I think it's just going to make for a good racetrack. Monaco's an amazing qualifying track, terrible racetrack. I believe that Vegas is probably going to be good for qualifying, but a great Sunday or great Saturday night it's going to be. So that's what I look forward to the most.
Saturday night in Vegas always sounds like good. Well, and one thing I noticed as well in the game, and they've obviously the exterior of it, is at one point you're going down and there's just iconic hotels either side of you and everything. That's going to be, I know, and I know in a race you're not going to be sitting there looking at, but the first couple laps there, yeah, well maybe it depends where you are in the race, right? But the first couple laps there, I guess, are going to be quite surreal seeing all that around you.
Yeah, I mean, I think FP1 is going to be like daytime-ish, and then FP2 is going to be nighttime, so similar to like the other night races. But it's going to be, I just think it's going to be insane. Like, even on the game, when you're driving in the straight and you got like all the neon signs, and you're actually driving in the middle of Vegas, and it's blocked off for you to go and drive and have a bit of fun. Like this, I think is insane. So I'm excited. I can't wait.
And think we'll have a fourth race in the US? I know it's been the talk. Would you want that? Do you think it's overkill when you have one place as... Well, I think people say New York, don't they, maybe? But where would your ideal for if you could pick a fourth race?
Where would I be? Like around a golf course or something?
I mean, you might...
like more north in Florida or something. I don't know where I would do it. New York, I think, is a pretty insane place. Like similar-esque if you have like a London race kind of thing. I think that'll be pretty awesome. So if we did, that's probably the obvious place to do it.
I was going to ask you finally about golf. Full disclosure, I don't actually play a lot of golf. I don't really know it. I know you play with my friends Chris Madland and Lawrence, or you've seen them around. What's your handicap currently?
Damn, you should have asked me like a couple of weeks ago. I was down to like a 9.8 index. I'm back up to like a 10.3. I had a bad few weeks. But yeah, I mean, it's creeping down, but I'm kind of plateaued around this area for a while, so I'm a bit frustrated. But it's all right. It's not as good as Carlos. That's what pisses me off.
Yeah, I mean, and you two seem to play golf exclusively to be better than the other one, which I quite like.
Pretty much, yes. I think that's the main thing. We get more competitive on the golf course than we do when we're on the racetrack together. But yeah, it's just it's the one thing I enjoy away from racing, away from a racetrack. Yeah, just relaxing. Although it's frustrating, it's the most relaxing, frustrating sport I would say you can do. So I really do enjoy it, especially when I'm against Carlos or someone else. It's competitive, but it's also just all about you. You know, you can't blame anything. Although I always blame the ball or my clubs, you can't. It's all about you, and I think that's what makes it cool.
And who'd your dream golfer to have around with? Is it Tiger or is it somebody else?
It's Tiger. I mean, I didn't get into golf that long ago, like just a few years ago. So, yeah. But after watching like the Tiger documentary and things like that, as much as I would love to play with Rory and certain other people, Tiger, you know, he's made golf a lot of what it is nowadays, and I think if you ask 99.9% of golfers, probably even if you ask some of these other guys like Rory, who do you want to play with, they might say some of the guys that they had their eyes on, you know, when they were a kid. But I don't think anyone would ever say no to Tiger. So,
have you ever met him?
No, I haven't.
Because I mean, that must be one guy you want to meet. Like, it's, you know, up there with, like, you know, your Ali's and stuff, guys that are just absolute legends. I mean, I'm not even a golf fan, as I mentioned, but Tiger Woods, like, I totally get why that guy is so...
Like, you know, I think what's always made people special is not just what they do at the sport that they do, whether it's basketball or football or whatever. It's not just what he's achieved on the golf course, you know, it's also what he's accomplished or come back from away from the golf course. So, and also what he's done for the sport of golf. So, yeah, I would love to, just because of who he is, how he handles things. I just think he's an awesome guy. So, I would love to.
I've spoken to a few drivers who, when they meet other athletes from other disciplines, they say how helpful that can be because they give you a different insight. Who has been, or doesn't have to be one, it can be a few people. Has there been anyone you've met that's actually really helped just from a conversation in terms of what you were able to do in racing?
I guess some. I mean, even like, I guess the people I've grown up watching. Rossi's always been the guy for me, you know. I saw him even the other day at Brands Hatch. I went to watch the World Challenge or some GT World Challenge. So this is really cool again. Like he's been my hero as a kid. So I've always taken a lot of inspiration from him. But even when it's been Lewis or when I was joining McLaren in 2017, Fernando was here. Like even being part of that, you know, and seeing his mindset, how he works around things. Like I'm still a fan, you know. I'm still a guy who has a lot of respect for those types of people who have created history and done things that not many other people in the world can have done. So there's many different people. There hasn't been like one guy that I've always looked up to. I wouldn't say I really have that story of he's that one guy I've looked up to and inspired to be like, but just kind of always try to pick different things from different people. Yeah, I guess just made me who I am today.
And Lewis and Fernando, you're a young guy. Proof that you can still be doing it in 10, 15 years, whatever.
What is it? How was
Lewis is 38, I think. Fernando's 42, 41.
15 years, huh? Strong 15 years to get, what, seven more championships?
9 between them.
Yeah, but
no pressure, mate.
To achieve one of them, to achieve just one would be pretty awesome. But yeah, 9 between them. So, no, hats off to them. Even what Lewis is still doing, what Fernando's done, even after going away and coming back. Yeah, it gives me confidence of what I might still be able to do in the future with McLaren or with another team. So I look forward to it. 15 years, see what I can do.
There you go. There's my exclusive. Lando wants to keep racing forever. Lando Norris, thanks very much, mate, and best of luck this weekend.